Hey guys, today I am going to talk about iDubbbz's newest video. In his video, he has a link to Frogan, Kaceytron, and Denims GoFundMe versus Ethan. Obviously, Ethan is suing them from copyright infringement. I believe Ethan is going to win. Now, will he settle? Probably. I think it's always good to settle. But if he wanted to win, I think he would win. So iDubbbz is mentioning how they're being bullied. And here's the narrative. You see this especially with Denims and Kaceytron, even Frogan, right? The narrative is, oh, we are being sued because we are female, not because we broke the law. Look at all these other guys who also broke the law, and they're not being sued. Well, it may be true. It may be true. Other individuals may have, I don't even know what to call it, movie timed it or shared it in the same ways that Denims, Frogan, and Kaceytron have, but you can sue them. You can sue anyone you want. If you have 10 people who light your home on fire at the same time, God forbid, knock on wood, that doesn't happen, you could sue all 10, you could sue 5, you could sue 1. That's how the law works. Just because you committed a infringement, a copyright infringement, does not mean there is no excuse in the law where it says you cannot be sued if others have also committed copyright infringements. It's up to the victim, in this case Ethan, to decide who he wants to sue and what resources he wants to allocate. So whether or not it is free women being sued because they are women, whether or not it is Ethan choosing the easiest cases to sue. Denims is a home run because at the very end of her thing, you know, it's all about money. It's all about that money, right? She even mentions, hey, give me a Twitch Prime. Literally asking for money at the end of a very hard day of work. So here, I think iDubbbz, I agree, he probably has not read or is aware of what these lawsuits are. He seems generally confused. He thinks probably that they're just, it's kind of reminds me of the Billy Mitchell versus Carl Jobs. If you follow me in that saga, no one knew it was about Apollo Legend. I didn't know it was about Apollo Legend until maybe 2 weeks of researching and looking at the actual files and noticing that there were 5 claims. All 5 claims mentioned Apollo Legend. None of the 5 claims mentioned cheating, because that's how they frame it, right? It's about framing. Instead of framing about I committed copyright infringement, I'm being sued. It's framed as, oh, Ethan is harassing us. Ethan is sending stalkers, right? Stalkers that are certified and licensed professionals by the Court of California that work hand in hand with the judicial system, right? These process servers, right? They may be a little creepy. You might sound like, but how else are you going to serve somebody who's trying to avoid being served? The reason that they are allowed to go there to your home at 2 a.m. at night and, you know, bypass whatever security locks that you have in the front of the apartment complex is simply because if they were not able to do it, no one would be served, right? It would be a very, very difficult thing it's still a very difficult thing to personally serve someone today. But it would be an incredibly difficult thing if these licensed professionals didn't have tricks of the trade, if you will. So back to the iDubbbz situation, I think iDubbbz is probably not a person who can really speak on this. This video is about immigration. It has a lot of dislikes. People are not happy with this video, and I would think that iDubbbz should really evaluate what he's doing. Reading some comments, he's just baiting Ethan into humiliating him more. It seems to be a kink thing for him. The timing of the video getting published just before a show would say that's correct. Hasn't looked into the lawsuit beyond what he's been told by friend's wife, constantly calling someone you came up with career-wise effing rich and powerful makes you sound very insecure and bitter about your life choices. Taking someone to court for doing blank blank isn't bullying. There is zero need to bring anyone's race, gender, or monetary status other than to hoodwink the unaware into thinking they're victims. So this is what they love doing. they love doing this, and they even did this to Legal Mindset. Ad hominem attacks, where you're attacking the person making the argument, which is in this case Ethan Klein, rather than the argument himself. I don't see Hassan bringing in a copyright expert and explaining, hey, this is why what they did is legal. I don't see any copyright lawyers on their particular side of the argument, because I would love to debate. And again, I have my patent bar registration. That's probably enough to tell you I do copyright, because the patent lawyers are the tertiary, they're the hawks. Trademark lawyers are the snakes, and then the copyright lawyers are the mouses. So at any given time, patent lawyers are the best. Okay, with that over, for IP at least. With that over, this is a very interesting thing to do, is to attack and attack and attack. And this is what we saw with Alex Duvall. And this is kind of where my conclusion was about Legal Mindset. There wasn't nearly enough evidence to make that big of a claim. And when allowed to present more evidence, Alex did not do so. So even though there are things that I don't love about Legal Mindset, or that make sense to me personally, you don't make that argument that he's done blank, 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 which is really bad, which is actually a criminal offense in the US, where you could go to jail for, without actually bringing a much stronger argument to the table. Here, I don't see any one of them making a argument. So the lawsuit is about copyright infringement, correct? That's all the lawsuit is about. Nothing. That's what the claims are about, and that's it. So the argument should not be about, oh, Ethan has money and he's targeting women and he's harassing them. And no. The argument is, you look at the claims, just like in Billy Mitchell versus Carl Jobs. Carl Jobs really just misled everyone. In my personal opinion, he misled everyone about what the case was. A lot of people did not know the case was about Apollo Legend, because he kept talking about cheating and cheater, and every video was about cheating and the red joystick and all these really, cheating things, right? Oh, and so when he framed it, everyone thought that he was being sued because of cheating. That turned out not to be true, right? And then his ad hominem attacks via Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell's a cheater. Billy Mitchell cheated. Billy Mitchell had no relevancy, or very little relevancy outside of character, right? To the lawsuit. In fact, the judge basically said, okay, he's a cheater. What now? And Billy Mitchell's own lawyer said, okay, he's a cheater. Does that change what you said about him? Is he a murderer? Is he a person? No, right? And I think that was probably the smartest thing that Billy Mitchell's lawyer did, was he said, so what? And then Carl could not come up with an answer, because the lawsuit was not about cheating. It was about his statements about Apollo Legend. Whether or not Billy cheated or not cheated at a game of Donkey Kong has very little to do with those statements. And whether or not, this is the iDubbbz logic, right? Whether or not iDubbbz understands this, attacking Ethan Klein will have almost no impact on the lawsuit. The lawsuit is very simple. Ethan Klein registered a video. That video was registered for copyright purposes, specifically to sue, specifically for statutory damages. You can argue. I mean, I've actually had defenses, and I think maybe it would be interesting, if you guys like that video, for me to pretend to be one of their lawyers and lay out what the defenses would look like, because there are viable defenses. There are defenses that can be made. Whether or not a judge will accept them, it's up to a judge, but it's up to the lawyer to make those defenses. I don't see any of these people on YouTube bringing in a copyright attorney or talking about, okay, maybe they didn't use this much, or they used too much, or maybe the bathroom was this, or maybe it's mitigated. Like, a lot of what YouTubers talk about are just ad hominem attacks, and they don't actually look. So I made a thing about Mike from PA, and then people would tell me, oh, he could be a lawyer. He went to law school. No, literally the Supreme Court justice. We're literally reading an article where the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, which is the large, that's the big dogs of PA, right? So if they come down in state law, that's state law. Mike from PA tries to run for office I think it was a Democrat become Republican. It's kind of weird, but okay, he tries to put his name on the ballot, and he literally cannot put his name on the ballot because 7 judges said, "Hey, you're actually not a lawyer." Now, 6 of them said, "This is bad enough that we have to remove your name from the ballot because you're trying to trick people." The 7th judge said, "Oh, you're not a lawyer, Mike, but it doesn't really matter because whatever, right? We should still put your name on the ballot. It doesn't go to the extent that we would take that right away from you." And you still got people in the comment section saying, "Oh, right, he's a lawyer, right? Legal Mindset told me he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer." Like, and it's like, no, you literally are. We're literally sitting there reading an article about the decisions from judges who are very, very intelligent, very smart to get to that position. The Supreme Court of PA, you're a top dog, man. You're a top dog in the legal field. So who are we going to listen to? A YouTuber, or are we going to actually read the article, read the case, read it? So many. You know what Carl Jobs hid the most? You know why he hated me the most? He didn't want me to read the court documents. Once we started reading in court documents and we got away from his videos covering the content, and we actually just started reading court documents word per word per word, then his whole case just collapsed, right? Like a house of cards. And then he tried to ban me. It's a story that my subs know. Why are you so afraid of the court documents, right? Why are you so afraid of what the court... If you have misgivings, oh, the judge is biased and this, and then appeal it, right? Didn't appeal. If you think that you're being treated unfairly or something bad is happening to you in the court system, trust me, it would be big news. We have to, as a society, rely on the rule of law. In our current society, that is judges making decisions. Even I, as a lawyer, right, needed to hire a lawyer, and we needed to go to a judge, and that judge I didn't agree with any of the judge's decisions, but I still respect it, right? So anyway, that is it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Guys,